All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Freelancer School. I am Mike Volkin, host of Freelancer School and lead instructor of Freelancer Masterclass. Today with me, we have a special guest, Melanie Padgett Powers, who is the owner of Mel Edits. She is a freelance writer and editor in the Washington, D.C. area, and she primarily works with membership associations and healthcare organizations. And she is also the host of the Deliberate Freelancer podcast, one that I listen to. And she focuses on the business side of freelancing and aims to inspire freelancers to think and act like business owners, which is something I continuously repeat over and over again to my students at Freelancer Masterclass. Thank you so much for joining me, Melanie.
It's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's just talk about the Deliberate Freelancer. How long is it you've been doing it? How often is it updated? All that good stuff.
So I just launched in March of this year. I had been wanting to do a podcast and dreaming about doing a podcast for a year, and finally just said, I have to just launch it. I can't just keep thinking about it and planning and being very deliberate, and I need to just launch the thing. So I launched in March. I love it. It's a blast. It comes out every Thursday. I do it every week. Some of the episodes are solo. Some have guests. I do hire an editor, which has been really helpful. But it's all about the business side of freelancing. So it's for any freelancer in any industry at any level who really wants to focus on building and growing their business. And my big mantra is you can't just do the work every day and hustle and just you need to step back and really analyze your business and have structures and processes and a business plan, and you need to market and network.
Yes.
And, I really like to analyze where I am and change things up and make sure that I'm doing the work that I love, not working for clients I don't like, knowing my value and getting good rates. And so I try to pass on all that advice to my audience.
Super important. I think that's probably the single best thing I've done to scale when I became a full-time freelancer is just to actually step back and schedule time to review my numbers and my goals and all that good stuff. It's super important. I'm glad you're focusing on that. So you're a freelance writer, obviously the largest contingent out there of freelancers are writers. And I wanted to ask you how you found your niche and how you take your own path, or how another writer can take their own path, or anyone really, and not have to worry about competition, just finding your niche and finding your passion. How does one go about doing that?
Well, I had part of that was luck. But I'll give you some tips as well. So I had never really dreamed about being a freelancer. I was a newspaper reporter years ago, and then I spent 13 years at membership associations, working my way up. I live here in DC. There are associations on every corner. Mm-hmm. And I worked my way up at healthcare associations and eventually was managing magazines. And my last job I really disliked, and I wanted out, and I wasn't seeing other jobs or interviewing for jobs that I was interested in. So I decided to go freelance. And so that was just kind of luck. It was never planned, but I had built up by, building relationships over the years. I had this amazing network at membership associations from all these former bosses and coworkers who had spread out at a wide variety of healthcare associations. And as soon as I told people, and this is one tip, tell everyone that you're going freelance. I mean, tell your cousins, tell your neighbors, put it on your listserv, because you never know where work will come from. And so I had all of these people giving me work right away. And so I was very lucky from the beginning that I had this network that I hadn't planned on building, but just because I'd been in associations for so long and in the DC area for so long, that worked out. Now, that said, I also have a diversity of services. So I am not one that wants to write all day long. I love writing, but I can't imagine doing it all day long. And I think it is really hard to sustain that too, especially if you're trying to do just journalism. Mm-hmm. I think if you want to write all day long, you really can do, and you want to do journalism, you really need to do a mix of journalism and content marketing, because content marketing is where the money is. And journalism can be where the prestige is. You can try to get into the New York Times and the Washington Post, but you can't make a living doing that every day as a freelancer. And so I also love being an editor. So it's been helpful that I have managing editing services. I do copy editing for a select group of clients. I proofread magazines, and then I also do writing. And in the beginning, I even did social media management.
Wow.
Think about the things that you like to do and the services and skills you have. In the beginning, you might be doing skills that you're really good at, and maybe you don't love it, but you're good at, but that'll get you started. Like social media management, I was really good at it. I liked it. But after a while, I decided I wanted to pull back from that. But it was really helpful getting me going in the beginning to have that extra service to connect with clients.
Yeah, I love that idea. And, one of the things you had mentioned, tell everyone you know that you're a freelancer. When I first became a full-time freelancer, and we talked about this in Freelancer Masterclass, is that I downloaded the last 1 year of emails. Everybody who emailed me in the last year, and I downloaded them in an Excel spreadsheet, and I went through everyone one by one after deduplicating them. And I categorized them as A, B, or C. A are people that I talk to on a weekly basis. B is between 1 week and 3 months, and C is people who I hardly ever talk to. And I sent the same email in each category to each person. Each one was a little bit different because of the frequency in which I interact with them. But I just a quick email that says, "Hey, I'm a freelancer, open for work. If you know anybody." There's so much gold in that. It's unbelievable. I had enough work to last me for 6 months just from those series of emails that I sent. So
I love that. You are a kindred spirit, because give me a spreadsheet and a process like that. And yeah, that's really a smart tip.
Well, thank you. So I noticed you go to a lot of you attend a lot of conferences, a lot of networking events. What is a benefit for a freelancer to do that? I know a lot of freelancers who say they don't want to do that at all because they're introverts. But from your perspective, what kind of benefits have you gotten out of that?
Oh my gosh. And I am an introvert. People don't always believe me when I say that, but I'm definitely an introvert.
I am too.
By 3, 4 o'clock, I don't want to talk to anyone. I go hide in my hotel room. I need to recharge.
Yeah.
But I'm not shy when I'm around people that are interested in the same things that I am. So there's 2 kinds of conferences, and there's benefits to both. So there's the kind of conference where it's your people, right? It's other writers, other editors. You're building your network. You're getting education from the sessions. I also get work from other writers and editors because they get to know me personally, in person, in real life, not just social media. And then we keep in contact on social media, and they might get a potential client and say, "That's not right for me, but maybe it's right for you."
Exactly.
So then there's the other type of conference where your potential clients are. And I go to both of these types of conferences. So I go to a conference every year that is for membership associations. And, there's benefits to both. So I build a network I always like to say networking is really building relationships, because we don't like the phrase networking. A lot of people don't like that phrase. Yeah. But I'm really authentic, and I'm talking to people about, we're all nerding out about writing or editing or associations together. And it's very easy for me to talk to people in those situations. And, as I said, I'm building a community. We're all working from home, usually by ourselves, with our cat or our dog by our side. And it's very lonely sometimes. And you don't have that coworker to bounce ideas off of. And so when you meet people in real life, it just increases that connection. And then you can, connect with them on Facebook and Twitter and keep in touch throughout the year and ask them questions, ask for advice. So that network has been invaluable to me. And as I said, I've gotten work from other writers and editors who've passed on referrals or jobs that weren't right for them. Sure. And then, of course, at the Membership Association conference, it's all networking and marketing. And it's really great when I meet my clients at that conference, and then they pull someone over and say, "Oh, Melanie works for me. You should hire her." I mean, exactly. I can't buy that kind of marketing, right?
Yeah. It's easy and free. That type of marketing is just like taking your best clients and getting referrals from. So speaking of your cat and dog, what I found interesting on your website is how your personality comes out. And I noticed you've appointed I believe it was your cats, head of resources and head of security. How are they doing?
They're good. They're good. I've they're cut out of the room right now. So I'm hoping they don't bust through the door.
Oh, wow.
Because they like to hang out with me. So I have 2 cats, and I work from home. So Slinky I call her director of HR, because she's super friendly and chatty. And anytime anyone comes to the house, she wants to be friends. Like the repairman will come, and I have to shut her in the basement because she gets in his way and meows at him the whole time. The other one, Bella, is a little more standoffish. We call her head of security, because she likes to sit on the back of our couch overlooking the street and just keep an eye on everything all day long. So even though she's about 7 pounds, she thinks she's, our little guard cat.
Well, because you gave them positions at your company, they're now tax write-offs for you. So now
exactly. I didn't think of that.
All right, lawmakers out there, don't sue me. I was just kidding. So tell me, how important is a blog to a freelancer?
So I'm a little torn on this. I have a blog, but it's been a little, I haven't written on it for a while now. I like my blog and I have plans to revive it, but of course, like every other thing that you don't get paid for, it's at the end of the list, right? So I think the important thing is so I had this friend who said to me recently, if everything is important, nothing is important. And it was a great reminder that you can't do everything. You can't blog and have a podcast and be on 7 social media platforms. So I really think if you should pick a few things that you really enjoy, because if you enjoy it, you'll do it. Like I'm on Twitter all the time. I love Twitter. You don't have to make me go on Twitter. You don't have to remind me to go on Twitter. I'm just naturally there building relationships. Excuse me.
That's great.
Building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The blog is funny because I am a writer, and but I write for money. And when I'm done writing for my clients, I don't always want to write for myself. Now, other writers feel very differently. They really, want that time to write for themselves. And so you just kind of have to know for yourself if you're going to keep up the blog, because I think consistency is the main thing.
Yep. Consistency and a reason. Like you're doing it for exposure. Or are you doing it for some other reason? Like why would you be blogging? And one of the things I do to maintain consistency is I make it a rule to live and die by my calendar. So if it's on my calendar, I know I'm going to do it. Like the gym, for example. Like I've had I used to be in the fitness industry. I had so many people come to me and say, I don't get to the gym regularly. I'm like, well, put it on your calendar. And then nothing, unless an emergency will deter you from going to the gym, and it works. And doesn't have to be the gym. It could be blogging. So
yeah,
that's a really good tip. So how can our audience find you online? How can they learn more about you?
So you can go to my website, which is meledits.com. You can find my podcast there, Deliberate Freelancer, or you can go directly to deliberatefreelancer.com, or just go on Twitter. I'm at meledits. That's usually where I am.
Mel Edits. All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. This is very interesting. Hopefully let's keep in touch in the future. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Melanie. Thank you.